Hello, and welcome to another edition of Canadian Immigration Law Updates. My name is Nandi Deterville of Deterville Law Office. In today's updates, we will be discussing the express entry round of invitations to apply that have occurred over the last few weeks. We will also discuss the extension on the discretionary non-essential travel into Canada, as well as the announcement by the IRCC, that's Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada, for the surveys relating to their services over the last year. Let's get started, shall we? So there were a few rounds of invitations to apply that occurred over the last 2 weeks. Well, the month of March. The first being on March 8th, where 671 invitations to apply were issued to candidates in the provincial nominee program, where a score of 739 were the 739 CRS score was the lowest ranked score of those individuals. So that round 177, showed a return to normalcy after the big 27,000 invitation round in the middle of February. So that was this round, March 8th, was more in line with what we had seen in the past with that 671 invitations rather, and the 739 points being the lowest ranking. The next round occurred on March 17th, where again, another round of which focused on the provincial nominee program candidates. In this round, there were only 183 invitations issued, and the CRS score of the lowest ranking individual was 682. So again, there was a great difference between the numbers for the March 8th and March 17th, both in the same program, the program being the provincial nominee program, but the score at least wasn't as high as the previous round and was reduced to 682. Again, showing continued commitment by the Government of Canada to maintain people in Canada who have at least shown some keen interest in the running of the economy, and those persons who the provinces have identified as being necessary for them and their economies. So that was certainly a lot more in line with what has occurred in the past, especially given that unprecedented round, which we'll probably be talking about for a while, which occurred back in February. The last round that has occurred in the last 2 weeks actually came a day after that provincial nominee round, where on March 18th, 5,000 invitations were issued for candidates in the Canadian Experience class group of candidates with a CRS score of 449. So that has been, again, more of a return to the normal ranking amounts of people, the lowest, the ranking of the scores, which we were accustomed to before that February 13th round. Here we're talking again, round number 179, the score being 449. And it seems that for those persons who, for whatever reason, were unable to complete or were not captured in the previous February round, they had an opportunity here to get that invitation to apply, which so many people in that round would be looking for. Here, the tie-breaking rule, which was interesting to note, for for this March 18th round, was in fact back in February 19th. So it would have been after the time when that big unusual round was held. Remember back in February when that 27,000 plus candidates were pulled from the pool, that tie-breaking round, the tie-breaking date rather, was back in September of 2020. So that round being in February actually cleared the pool from September and previously to that. So it's important to note that they've now come on, the IRCC has, with its recent March 18th round, decided to bring the sort of normalcy back, and now focusing on candidates up until February 19th, which would have been really interesting to note if people who had put their names forward decided to complete their express entry system profiles, did do so after the major round, in a hopes that they would be considered for the next one. So moving on into the discretionary travel restrictions into Canada. As of today, the date where these have been extended is April 21st, 2021. And that is for all countries, both the US and the others. That's important to note because, generally speaking, these rounds have been, extensions have been going to focusing on a bi-monthly basis. Usually for countries other than the US, it tends to be announced maybe like 2 months in advance, and then that sort of lingers till the end, and then soon thereafter the change would be made, if any. But with the US, it's serious. It has been consistent with about a month, determining when or how long for these extensions are going to continue. And we see here that these extensions are all synced for all countries, being April 21st, as again the rollouts of more and more vaccines become available in both countries, the US, Canada, and elsewhere. We will see what the government has decided, whether it's going to continue for much longer. Again, many insiders still believe that it's going to go at least past the fall into the end of the year, but we are always hopeful given that some travel, discretionary travel, will return to Canada at some point. And so we just keep an eye out to make sure that our clients are knowledgeable on those matters and those extensions. The final point that I wanted to cover today in my updates is the announcement by the IRCC of these surveys that were going to be sent out to applicants for their different programs during the servicing in 2020. So the IRCC wanted to sort of get a review of how they carried out their services during 2020, again being a COVID dominated year. And the applications, so all people who were serviced and agreed to be contacted by the IRCC for future information would have gotten an email in relation to their services that were offered in 2020, as well as the IRCC sending out physical and sometimes inserts in their new passports for Canadian passports issued during that time period as well. So there's this announcement that these surveys were going to happen and the method that they were going to occur in, and that way IRCC would sort of be able to have the information required to know really how they did during this COVID dominated year. And that would certainly be a heads up to participants that these services would be coming, surveys, would be coming to them. And again, how that will be impacted. And again, it's simply feedback to learn how they performed, what were the critiques of that service during this crucial time. So that is it for today. I do hope again that you continue to be informed by these updates. And if you wish to contact me, feel free to do so at detervillelaw.com. We are always happy to help our clients with their immigration plans and their immigration journey into Canada and beyond. Well, we'll see you again soon. Bye bye now.